In this review, you're going to be hearing the microphone going straight into my Sony a7S III. There's no post-processing of any kind, only makeup gain and a limiter. That way you can hear the raw sound quality going straight into the camera. This current section, as well as the TLDR section in a couple seconds, is not being recorded with the microphone. It is actually being recorded with my Blue Yeti microphone.
Tilder!
This is the Comica VM20 onboard shotgun microphone. Cost approximately $130. It's got a built-in battery lasting up to a whopping 74 hours. It has low-cut filter settings. Is this a cheaper version of the Rode Videomic NTG?
What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker.
Sure sounds decent, doesn't it? Keep in mind, it does not have the safety track feature, negative 20 dB pad, no auto on or off detection, and you cannot use this mic as a USB microphone. Do I recommend it? If none of those features I just listed matter to you, definitely yes. The sound quality is quite good, and it can easily fit into a YouTuber studio or a narrative filmmaker's boom audio kit on a budget.
Done! Roll that intro!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker, where the answers comes first, the reasons come last, but we're constantly and always still learning. So today we're going to find out whether or not the Comica VM20, which is an onboard DSLR shotgun mic, is going to be the right solution for you and your overall filmmaking kit. And I want to thank PerGear for sending this out to me so I can provide you with my review today. Now, you are currently listening to it. It is boomed about 12 inches away from my face, and we are in a non-sound treated room. There's literally a wall right over there. There's also my Godox SL60 that has a fan towards the rear of the mic. So this is what you can expect to hear with just a gain and a limiter, no equalization or any sort of noise floor reduction. Coming in at approximately $130, you're going to get everything you need, including a carrying case, 2 wind muffs, one's a dead cat style, the other one's more of a foam style, and you also get a TRS and a TRRS cable depending on what you're plugging it into. Now, this is primarily made out of metal and feels pretty good. It's got a built-in battery that lasts nearly 3 days according to my time-lapse test, as you can see here. It was kind of crazy because that's actually pretty good. And lastly, there is a low-cut filter at 75 Hz and 150 Hz should you need it. If you want to, you can also move the analog dial in the back to determine how sensitive you want the mic to be. One quick note about the dead cat is that it's a drawstring style instead of you just kind of slipping the mic into it. And unfortunately, if you don't do the drawstring correctly, it's going to fall off just like that. You're going to have to make sure you get the drawstring to clear the very front of the shock mount, so you might have to move things around. Once you have that cleared, then yes, it will hold in place. And without further ado, let's get to the sound quality tests. Again, this is going to be done in my makeshift soundproof box so that I can give you the cleanest audio possible.
What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. You done messed up, Aaron! You done messed up, Aaron! You done messed up, Aaron! You done messed up, Aaron!
When it comes to the built-in battery test, I have this blowing at a fan, and I was surprised. This thing lasted up to 74 hours, which is pretty crazy. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have like an auto on and off feature like the Rode Videomic NTG does, but should you forget to actually, turn it off, well, it can last up to 74 hours. Now, I know what most of you are probably thinking when you're looking at this mic. What about how it compares against the Rode Videomic NTG that costs nearly about $120 more? Well, basically, there are some features that are missing in the Comica VM20. For one, you don't have the auto on and off function, which is definitely something I love about the Rode Videomic NTG and why I like to use it for a YouTube situation. There is also no USB digital microphone option, so if you plug it in to your computer, you can't use it as a USB microphone. You're going to have to use the TRRS cable to do that. So that's definitely an awesome feature the Rode has going for it. Lastly, there is no safety track feature, and then there is no negative dB 20 pad feature should you be in like a very loud concert setting. So those are the features that are missing, but let's compare the audio tests from the soundbox tests that I've done to see how they sound back to back.
What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker.
So what's the bottom line here? Is the Comica VM20 something you should be thinking about for your overall filmmaking kit? And where does it fit in terms of its price range? Because it's basically flanked between something like an Andy Cine M1, which I love, being a small little micro shotgun mic, and then you have the Rode Videomic NTG. We're talking approximately $30, the Comica coming in at $130, and then we have the Rode Videomic NTG coming at approximately $250 to $260. So basically, Comica, in terms of its price range and feature set, literally fits right in between these three options. So basically, you're gonna have to ask yourself this. If you are considering basically a shotgun mic for either YouTube, narrative, documentary, or maybe corporate shoots, you're gonna have to ask yourself this. Do you actually want to spend the extra $130 some to get these specific features? Auto on and off when you're plugged into a camera, or the negative 20 dB pad if you're like in a very loud festival environment for a documentary and you want to be able to capture all the music or whatever is going on. A safety track, especially when you're on that documentary filmmaking. And then lastly, to be able to use it as a USB microphone when you're plugged into the computer. That's what the Rode has going for it, and you're gonna have to ask yourself, does the work you do benefit from those four main features? Because when it comes down to it, sure, the microphones sound different. All microphone companies have a different sound. The Comica one, VM20, doesn't really sound that bad. In fact, if I give it the YouTube treatment like I normally do, then this is what it can sound like instead of getting the Rode Videomic NTG. Now, the last thing that you're gonna have to ask yourself is, well, there's also a huge difference between the $30 Andy Cine M1 that I really actually like. It's a really awesome budget, small shotgun microphone versus this, the Comica VM20. So this becomes a budget question, because if you're just starting off with YouTube and you're on a limited budget, then by all means, you should get the Andy Cine M1 because it's literally just a little shotgun microphone. It does not require its own battery inside. The battery power coming out of your camera is going to supply the power, and it's actually quite good in terms of it being able to pick up sound. So that's what I would do. If you're on a narrative film set, then again, you're going to have to ask yourself the budget question. Are you wanting to go into a field recorder, which is definitely the better option to get audio? And if it is, you could, in theory, go with the Andy Cine M1, but it's a very short barrel shotgun microphone, and you might not always be able to get this close in a YouTube setting, in which case I would say you should probably look towards the Comica VM20 for those situations. And hey, that is it for this week, everybody. If this video has made all the influence in your purchasing decisions, I would truly appreciate it if you check out my Amazon affiliate links down below. Again, this costs nothing extra to you. It just gives me a little compensation so I can continue making videos like this for you. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it down below. I will get to them as fast as I can. And until then, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.